going on, dudes and dudettes? Yes, took a little bit off the top, as you can tell by that intro, so hopefully it's not too distracting for y'all. But let's get into some news finally after quite a bit of time of not seeing you guys and ladies. So, yes, the Chargers did sign Kyle Van Noy last week. He played pretty much outside linebacker slash defensive end for the Patriots the past few years. He did sign with Miami for like 1 year, then basically got released and went back to New England. So he's won a couple championships up there with the Patriots, so it's good bringing that type of mentality in, and plus he's a West Coast kind of guy, so it's always good to bring those guys here who actually want to be out here and who actually perform well as well. So definitely looking forward to that. He's looking like a big time get for them, and hopefully the Chargers can make a couple more moves here and there, especially on the defensive side. We'll see. Then when it comes to, USC, they picked up a defensive end themselves in the transfer portal who, he was actually Solomon Byrd is his name, from Wyoming. He actually committed a few days before this, to Georgia Tech, who isn't a bad team, but I don't know, for some reason I guess USC came with a late push and now he's coming to USC, which is great. 6'4", definitely over 220. So he has good size, had like 10 plus sacks in his career, so it's looking pretty good numbers wise overall. Yes, he was playing against lesser competition, but Wyoming has been a little bit more the more consistent team in that conference, so it's good to see him at least put up those numbers, and hopefully he can contribute to USC's defense this year. Definitely looking forward to that. Then an ex-USC defensive end, Rasheem Green, probably more of a D tackle. He was with the Seahawks. He got drafted there, but became a free agent, and now he is signing a 1-year deal with the Houston Texans. So not bad, getting some of that tax-free money out there. So see what he could do. Yeah, Houston is a rebuilding team, but he has a chance to put up some numbers out there on a crappy team and maybe get a bigger contract there or somewhere else. So good luck to him. Then, yeah, I didn't know if this was official or not when I reported on it a few videos ago, but now it is official that Duke has signed Cale Catchings from Harvard and Ryan Young from Northwestern. I guess they had to make it Twitter official with these new posts that they did. So now that it's all official, we can now talk about them 100% joining the team next season. So definitely very excited about that. Guys who aren't gonna maybe start for you, but can start if there are injuries, and are great guys coming off the bench to help continue that scoring, which is what I am looking for. Then the Anaheim Ducks, yes, I didn't even know the NHL draft lottery thing was yesterday, but apparently the draft will be, I think, in another month or two. But lottery came out, and I guess at some point, the Ducks had like the second best chances to win this or something like that. I don't know what it was, because there are multiple like lotteries that the NHL does, which is kind of weird. But they ended up with the number 10 overall pick, which I guess isn't bad. Last time they picked around there a couple years ago, they got Trevor Zegras, who's been pretty solid and a really good young player, part of their young core, which he's a guy I'm definitely very excited about. So overall, we'll see who they could pick up, and he is hoping it's a guy who can help out right away, hopefully. Then, yes, ex-Duke player who's with the Brooklyn Nets, Seth Curry, recently had ankle surgery, and we found out it was successful, so that's good to hear. Forget if he's a free agent or not, so don't know if he will still be with Brooklyn or not, but overall looks like he will be healthy for the start of next year, which is always good for an ex-Duke player. Then USC had a pretty interesting stat when it comes to the both NFL and NBA drafts. So the past 3 years they've had one player selected in both the NBA drafts and NFL draft in the first round. So it obviously started with guys like Onyeka Okongwu a couple years back to the Hawks, and then also a guy like Austin Jackson going to Miami, which is pretty interesting late in that first round. Also recently, Drake London, who's a receiver, went. Evan Mobley was the top guy to go to Cleveland, top 3 overall. And also, I forgot that he actually snuck into the first round, was Kevin Porter Jr. when Cleveland took him that year, which was pretty cool. And then also Elijah Vera Tucker, who was a guy that I always was like up and down hot coat if I liked him, but the team in the Jets liked him enough to pick him in the first round, so that was good for him, I guess. But yeah, that's a pretty cool stat. I definitely think they have a chance to do that again, especially if they get one of these top, guys out there in the transfer portal in for football, and then they have a couple of talented guys for basketball, but I don't think anybody might get a first round this year or next year. So we'll see, depending on who's on the team. Then when it comes to the Duke players that are entering the NBA draft, yes, all 5 of them were invited to the Combine in Chicago. That's going to be happening in the next couple of weeks. So guys like Paolo Banchero, AJ Griffin, Mark Williams, Trevor Keels, Wendell Moore, all invited. So yes, the only player we're pretty much waiting for to see if he will come back or not is Trevor Keels, and this is just another step, I think, to maybe him not returning because he was one of the main guys invited. So there's only like 50 guys invited or something like that, 50 or 60. So he definitely looks like he might get drafted. So a lot of teams want to see him. So not looking good for Duke when it comes to that point of him returning. But overall, good luck to him if he is going to get selected in the first round or somewhere high. It'd be pretty cool. And then they said that when it comes to not this draft coming up, but the following draft next year, that the new head coach John Shire is already going to be coaching 3 lottery picks. And I found this where they did this mock lottery thing, and they're actually picks number 4, 5, and 6, which is pretty freaking crazy that 3 players from the same team get drafted that high in the NBA draft. But it was Derek Lively, who's one of the talented freshmen coming and going up to Houston, I believe. And then Kyle Filipowski, which kind of surprised me because he is considered very talented. I think he's more of like a Lauri Markkanen who went to Arizona and is with Cleveland right now. He's kind of like that type of player, I guess, and he's going to get selected first round to the Kings, I believe it was. And then Dariq Whitehead, who is supposed to be the best player out of these 3, is going 6 to San Antonio, I think it was. So yeah, it's pretty crazy that they would get selected not only that high, but 3 straight in a row. It would be awesome, but I think we could push for that top 1 or 2 spot. But that French kid, I think it is, I forget how you say his name, but Victor something. Yeah, he's probably going to be the number 1 guy because of how tall he is and athletic. They think he's going to be like a Giannis or Kevin Durant, something like that too. So we'll see what the future holds for all those guys. Then when it comes to a random betting site, they said that they're picking USC as the favorites to win the Pac-12 overall and most likely represent Pac-12 in the Rose Bowl, which is pretty cool. Hopefully that does happen, because if it ends with USC in the Rose Bowl or something like that in the Final Four, it means they've had a very successful season. So I would definitely look forward to that if that were the case. Then when it comes to JJ Redick, yeah, he's been even doing some of these playoff games for ESPN, talking like as a color analyst, which is pretty cool. Even like NBA fans are loving him. He even got like a standing ovation when they did the game in Philadelphia, which was one of the teams he played for. And then even like LeBron is talking about him, how great he thinks he is. So it's been a pretty easy transition for JJ Redick after the NBA life as a color analyst for ESPN. Definitely very happy for him, and especially the fact too that he still does his podcast, which is still doing a lot of great stuff. He had like Jason Tatum recently, also like Tim Legler, who's been at ESPN for a while, and his story about how he came from, he was like literally about to hit as a normal rotating player in the NBA, and then he busts his freaking knee, and he's still considered a very talented player, but right when he finally got his chance, and he had to bust his knee really bad, which is a horrible story, but it is great to be able to hear stuff like that, especially from sports guys. It's very, very intriguing. And then when it comes to the Lakers, yes, they had a couple interviews recently, most notably with Mark Jackson, who been for like the past 10, 15 years working with ESPN and ABC, calling like the NBA Finals games and a lot of ESPN games color analyst. He was recently, more recently, the head coach before Kerr to the Golden State Warriors, and has pretty much credited as like the beginning process of how they became a great team. So he always gets the credit, which is nice. But I hear LeBron likes him, a lot of people stuff. So he was interviewed, and also an ex-Portland coach and Terry Stotts was recently interviewed. I don't really think he's gonna get the job, but at least you got to do your due diligence. I don't know. My tongue feels like it's 20 pounds right now. I can't even freaking talk right now. But yeah, overall, I don't know. I think it's just kind of done that they're even looking for a coach, because last year they had Jason Kidd, who's doing phenomenal right now with Luka Doncic, and yeah, it's like Rick Carlisle was there last year, but he didn't get him out of the first round. He didn't get Luka out of the first round. So Kidd was able to do that, and they're most likely going to lose against Phoenix, sadly, in the playoffs this year, but that future is bright with those two together. And if you just gave Kidd the job this year and you're only paying Frank Vogel for 1 year that he's fired, I mean, how hard was that going to be? They fired coaches when they had 3 or 4 years left on their deals, like Mike D'Antoni, Mike Brown. Freaking crazy that they wouldn't do it for just 1 year, but oh well, right? Then the Lakers held a couple of pre-draft workouts, especially this last Tuesday, but most notably with the guys there from Michigan, of course, because Rob Pelinka, the GM, is from Michigan, so he had to get a guy out there, and Devontae Jones, who I kind of remember a bit from the season, but don't really remember him shining that much. Then I also got like a Jariah Horn from Tulsa. This name is tough, and seeing how my tongue is, I don't know if I get it, but Keo Dorichi, Akobundu, Ihi Ogu. Hope I'm saying that close or somewhat correctly. He's from the University of Texas in Arlington, so that might be UTSA. No, that's San Antonio. So I don't know. The University of Texas, all those schools they're basically University of Texas, but in a different place, which kind of doesn't make sense. But University of California, like UCLA, Cal Berkeley, UC Irvine, that's all the same crap, pretty much. Jamari Boye from San Francisco. Jordan Usher was pretty much the only guy I knew because he played not only recently for Georgia Tech, but also USC is where he started his first couple years. And yeah, he was a guy that showed some flashes even at USC as an athletic guy, but even at Georgia Tech, he proved that he could be a lot better of a defender and shoot a lot more and still use his athleticism. So if he could be that guy on the bench for you to do some of that, I think he's probably the best guy to pick out of this bunch. And also a tall guy, looked like from Richmond, Grant Golden, as well to look at. So overall, these are just some of the guys they're bringing in. I'm sure they're going to bring in more. I didn't even know they have a draft pick this year, unless they're just looking to maybe sign these guys to be able to buy one of the second-round draft picks, I guess, if these guys are selected. So we'll see how that goes. Then, yes, Jeannie Buss has been in the news, especially the past couple days. Pretty much did an interview, I believe, with the LA Times. Pretty much just saying that, yes, she is the one that's running stuff, not what everybody believes, like Clutch Sports and LeBron James are making all the decisions. And she is the final say of, yes, signing off on stuff. Maybe they've kind of put stuff together that didn't work out, like Russell Westbrook and not re-signing Alex Caruso, stuff like that. But she does have full confidence in Rob Pelinka as well. And for some reason, I guess someone asked if she was going to sell the team, which is dumb because I think even ticket-wise, they're like the top 5 highest ticket. Somehow the Knicks, I don't know why you would pay that much to go watch the Knicks fail every year. But yeah, the Lakers, they're still so profitable. Like there'd be no reason to sell that team ever unless you're given like maybe $1 trillion for your entire family's livelihood. But I don't think anybody has that type of money just yet. But yeah, overall, just like a lot of crazy stuff happening with that. Luckily, she did come out and pretty much take the blame because it's like, we paid all this extra money in the luxury tax to get like a guy like Russell Westbrook, and we didn't even make the playoffs. So she's pissed off about that. So I'm glad she's taking a little bit of accountability and yeah, she's having a lot of people help her out, but it's like a lot of people she trusts. So hopefully they do make the correct decision, because last time they did this, there was a championship that the Lakers were hanging up the following season. So yes, hopefully it does end up going good with the coach, because I know they're going to try to get that done before the draft as well, which is in a couple months. So yes, hopefully they get that done and find out news about LeBron's contract and if they are going to keep him or not, and also Westbrook, if he can trade that big old contract away too. So hoping for the best with the Lakers, and yes, I believe in Jeannie Buss for now. And then, yeah, to end off with some miscellaneous news, surprisingly, it kind of crept up on me that Simple Plan's new album, Harder Than It Looks, they always have a cheeky, as they say, title album. Even their first album is called No Pads, No Helmets, Just Balls, stuff like that. They kind of make fun with it. But yeah, overall, it did come out last Friday, and I was able to listen to the rest of the soundtrack, the rest of the CD. Only like 5 more songs, but yeah, overall, I still give it a positive rating. If you're going like out of 10, probably like a 7.5 or an 8 out of 10. Still pretty good. I like most of the songs. Maybe like 1 or 2. I probably won't be replaying a lot, but still really like that collaboration they did with the Sum 41 singer slash guitarist in Ruin My Life. That's a really good song still. Wake Me Up When This Nightmare Is Over, the song they pretty much are help supporting with the fight against Ukraine and all that stuff. That's still a really good song. And also one of the newer songs that I found out and listened to was Anxiety. It was a pretty interesting song, because they always try to end up throwing like some type of different, it's not like hip hop or rap, but it isn't mostly rock, which is still interesting to hear. I'm just glad they only did it for pretty much that song on this record, because there are some times where they go a little bit too overboard with it. Just like when they had Nelly on one of their songs, that was like probably one of their worst songs ever. But yeah, it wasn't what I was expecting. But yes, this album is great. You should definitely check it out. Simple Plan, Harder Than It Looks. And yes, thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe. Comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. Hopefully my tongue just feels extra wide. But yes, hopefully you were able to hear me clearly today. Yes, like I said, thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Fight on.